Story 1. I focused on myself, picked up new hobbies, spent more time with friends, and reminded myself that I deserve better. Took time, but it helped. Story 2. Move on with your life. The only cure is a balanced combination of time and distance. The longer you dwell on the what-ifs or, God forbid, stay with the person, the longer it takes to get over it. Therapy can help too. Story 3. It took me longer than it should have, so I may not be able to advise the best way to get over it. However, I can advise you not to do what I did, which was to bottle it up, not speak to anyone about it, not tell a single family member or friend, and try to keep going by working every hour work would send. Took COVID-19 shutting everything down for me to finally face it. I still didn't speak to family or friends though. It feels like a weird elephant in the room. No one knows what happened, just that we aren't together. One thing I did that was helpful was deleting social media accounts, phone numbers, and removing all online statuses on any platform, basically cutting off contact. Story 4. I thought to myself, he is not who I thought he was, so it is not such a big deal if he is not in my life. I got evidence, confronted him, and walked out. He begged for me back for years and even asked me to marry him too, and then again 3 years afterward. I refused. The trust was gone. I never really knew who he was or if he was capable of all that. Story 5. Accept that humans can be weak, foolish, passionate, and fickle. Focus on your ex's weaknesses, not your desirability or suitability as a partner. Story 6. I was immature, so I spray painted his house and egged his car. We are back together now, 5 years later. Story 7. I went to the gym with dedication and focused on my mental health by attending therapy and making time for hobbies I enjoy, such as gardening. Story 8. I didn't forgive and forget. I just moved on with life. Some people make bad choices. Forgiveness and forgetting are for people you want to keep in your life. Otherwise, just put them in the no longer relevant box. I made peace with the fact that their behavior is a reflection of them. I cried about the pain it caused, and I just moved on with my life one day at a time. Story 9. Speaking from experience, this is a relationship ender. Try as you might, you will never trust them again, and it will cast an ugly shadow on your relationship no matter what you both do. Story 10. The most important thing I learned to do was let myself feel. Feel angry, sad, hurt, even miss them at times. Once I was done going through the motions, I worked on finding my own happiness again through new hobbies or picking up old ones to pass the time. It may sound cliché, but it worked. I am happily single now and happier than I have been in years. Story 11. You eventually realize how illogical it is to hold feelings of love for someone who would willingly betray you like that. Story 12. Haven't been physically cheated on to my knowledge, but had a partner who loved external validation and nearly left me for another woman because she seemed easy. I was sad at first, but reminded myself that I was definitely not the problem and they were. If someone cheats or does similar, it is a problem within themselves and definitely not a reflection of your worth. Story 13. Oddly, it has happened to me 3 times. I responded very differently each time. The first time was with my first girlfriend. It was massively abusive and I was young and clueless. I felt relief that I found her and the other person, so breaking up was easy. I was in therapy anyway due to the abuse, so that helped me get through it easily. The second time was rough. I probably did not bounce back to my normal self for about a year. We dated for 2 years and knew each other as kids and were really close, so a relationship just grew on its own. She ended up secretly meeting with a mutual friend, and I found out because she left her Facebook open when she left for work, and I saw them messaging each other. I scrolled up and found at least 4 months worth of proof. I immersed myself in work and video games and barely socialized. The third time was with a woman I moved across the country for. I had medical issues and had to return to my home state for care since I was not yet a resident, having moved only 6 months prior. While I was home, my supposed best friend of 10 years flew out to see her. I pieced it together, based on inconsistencies in their stories. That affected me for about 4 years, during which I flirted with alcoholism and became hypersexual, having many flings to try to fill the gap. It only made me feel worse. Eventually, I went back to school, and that helped me fully recover. I would not wish this experience on my worst enemy. It really messes you up. Story 14. I just took responsibility for it. If you are with someone who does not have good self-esteem, is addicted to validation in some form or another, does not have healthy outlets, and is not good at setting boundaries with people, it is pretty much a guarantee. No hard feelings. I just know what to avoid moving forward. Story 15. The first time the relationship ended, I cried a lot, spoke to friends and family, and then started making art, which gave me a newfound passion and love for drawing and painting. The second time it ended, it affected me deeply, though it was not as bad as the first time. I do not think I am completely over it. I am over the pain, but I cannot trust women now, and I have not been able to allow myself to love someone since. Story 16. I don't hate him, but I am very hurt and disappointed by what he did, and that alone ended our relationship. If we cannot trust each other, the relationship will never be healthy. Story 17. I'm still working on it, but giving yourself grace helps a lot. When you get cheated on, something called reality fragmentation happens, where you start questioning everything about your relationship. Like, did they ever love me? Was that a lie? When did the cheating start? Can make you feel really crazy. You aren't though, because anyone going through this would feel exactly the way you do. For me, I've been struggling with trusting what people say again. I used to really be able to take people at their word, but I'm not so sure now. So what I do is listen to their words, but also pay attention to their actions. It's easy to say a lie. It's not very easy to do a lie. Sorry for the essay, my morning attention deficit hyperactivity disorder medication kicked in. But you're normal. Everything you're feeling is normal. Do what you need to do, be it sobbing and resting in bed or hitting the gym every day. Time will make it better. Story 18. It has never happened to me yet, but I would be more concerned about how they will get over me because I am done with them now. Story 19. Funny enough, I never knew until about 4 years after I broke up with him. He sent me a random message of confession. We had not been in contact at all. I cannot bear anything weighing on my conscience for any amount of time. I thought it was strange that this man apparently had just a little blip of a conscience in his brain. Story 20. I drank every day to let all my feelings out. I rebounded and was with a 40-year-old florist, then moved on. Eventually, forgiveness helps, but never forget. Story 21. They caused me to spiral and reach out to a stranger who ended up becoming my partner. Now meeting her changed my life for the better. Story 22. Let myself feel bad for a bit. Go through all the expected thoughts of maybe I am not good enough, and maybe it is my fault before realizing they were just wrong and they were in the wrong, not me. The biggest thing is to make sure it does not affect your next relationship. The new partner does not deserve it because of what the previous one did, and you yourself do not deserve it. Sometimes it takes a while to get there, but you do get there. Story 23. I have still not gotten over it. My children are a daily reminder that I loved her and she did not love me back. I am the type of person who cannot let betrayal go, no matter how hard I try. Story 24. I divorced him and canceled his medical insurance, which I had under his name as a dependent and had been paying from my paycheck. Story 25. Move on, go to the gym, focus on myself, and most importantly, ask God's help. I am strong now, attract women whenever I want, and will never fall in love with any other woman again. Story 26. I left. Then I went through counseling when I had doubts and thought I missed him. It helped my self-esteem. Story 27. Went to Jamaica a couple of days after the breakup. When I came back, I posted the pictures, which I never do, and everybody messaged me. It did a lot for my ego. I dated steadily for the rest of the summer and realized that my ex and I were really incompatible. I started to pity him. His affair partner cheated on him, and he tried to come back within 4 months. I told him to leave without a second thought. Story 28. My child is dealing with this now. I found out that right after the marriage, the spouse started cheating. Then I found out it had been with multiple people prior to the marriage. I don't even know how to help them realize this is not normal on any level. Story 29. Dumped him the moment he confessed. Went to therapy. Started antidepressants. focused on myself for about a year, then decided to put myself out there again, met someone new, and married him 4 years later. I also knew for a fact that it was not my fault and I did not deserve it. I do not know how I knew, but I just did. I was a good girlfriend and he turned out to be a problematic person. Having that clarity was very helpful. Story 30. Yup. 4 years together with my friend too. That sucked. Gym, piano, work, and the biggest time. I'm still not over it. I'm not sure I'll ever be completely. People are capable of doing things you and they never thought possible. Everyone is a wild card. Story 31. Time and perspective. It happened to me once. I instantly confronted her and ended it, but the hit to my ego and self-worth lasted for months. Over time, I learned not to take it so personally. What other people do is not within my control. Story 32. He cheated, I forgave him, then he cheated again and continued to talk to other women. I cleaned my shoes with his toothbrush, then cheated on him, led him on, and treated him the way he treated me for a year. It drove him insane. By the end, he was begging to be good to me and do things for me. I never told him I cheated because I didn't want to upset him. I just did it because I felt like it and didn't care. I still don't care. I then broke up with him and immediately went to my now husband's house. I started dating my husband the same day I ended it with that man. I never grieved the relationship. There was nothing to grieve. I was no longer unhappy with someone who treated me badly. Story 33. I went to the bar, met someone, and later went to my house. We spent time together in the bedroom next to the master bedroom until my now ex-wife woke up. Story 34. Lots of mindfulness and self-affirmations. I started to look after myself again, learned to do my own gel nails, learned how to do my hair properly, bought a ton of clothes, started working out, and felt great about myself. Story 35. Time and therapy. Now my memories of it are overwhelming relief at not being entangled with someone determined to cause me pain. Story 36. It ruined my trust for a long time and I built very high walls. I met my now fiancé, and it took a lot to trust him and let him peel the layers away. Therapy helped a lot. I was a little late starting it, but I would highly recommend it. Story 37. Had a conversation, stipulated my expectations going forward, and stayed in the relationship. I mentally checked out of the relationship when I realized several months later that nothing had changed. The person genuinely felt they had done nothing wrong. By the time they moved out, I had mentally distanced myself so much that they were in a sibling category. It seems to be my mode of operation. It does not ache as much. Story 38. I let it go. Last I heard, they were happily married with 2 children. Good for them. I wasn't in the best of places at the time, so in a way I kind of understood. I love her and always will, but we just weren't meant for each other in that way. Story 39. Hung out with some close friends and cut her out entirely, blocked her on everything. Wrote off everything of mine that she had as collateral and moved on. Easier said than done in some aspects. I was a student at the time, so there were no shared things such as apartment, pet, or large investments. It can probably be more complicated with those involved. Removed any trace of her from my home. Basically performed a hard erase. It stung for a few months, but after that, I didn't particularly care. Have not heard from or seen her in over a decade. Probably never will again. Story 40. It is hard, very hard actually, but I would avoid seeing them again anywhere, especially on social media platforms. Story 41. Face reality immediately and face the consequences. If you are fortunate and have friends, talk to them. Overall, accept that unfortunate events happen in life, but they cannot bring you down unless you allow them to. Do enjoyable activities and use the extra time you have for yourself. There are many things to do. Just whatever you do, do not dwell on thoughts of what could have been, as it is not worth it. Story 42. I did nothing. She slept with me as an apology while her new boyfriend, the man she was cheating on me with, was in the next room. He did not notice. It was not my proudest moment, and I did not know they were together at the time. Looking back, I was able to put things behind me. Those were strange times. Story 43. I was cheated on for nearly 2 years by my ex, and everyone in his family knew what he was doing except me. We were together for almost 5 years, so to find out that 2 of those years he was going behind my back, cheating, and hiding it so well that I had no idea was extremely heartbreaking. We have been broken up now for about 12 years. I am married to someone else, and we have 2 children, but I still think about what my ex did every now and then. I do not think it is something you will ever truly move on from or forget. Just make the active choice to forgive and not let it hinder your future relationships. Story 44. He had a debilitating car accident a few days later after ingesting too much alcohol and diphenhydramine. Tragic. Also, I was intimate with her best friend after the girl was supportive of me in the difficult situation. Story 45. It's been 5 years, and I'm not even close to getting over it. I'm not sure we ever do. I've dated a bit, and it's a big question on the first date whether there will be a second. Being the victim seems to create some solidarity with other victims. I think the pool of people who would date a cheater is small. Still, it's hard to imagine having enough trust in anyone ever to risk what assets I have left. Hence, I'm single with 2 ex-girlfriends that I regularly hang out with because they know it's not their fault. Story 46. I find it very difficult to get over because that person was the mother of my 2 children, so I have to see her on a very regular basis. I have not been able to return to the dating scene. I have come to accept the fact that she was or is unpleasant, but I will never fully trust someone if I enter a relationship again. Story 47. I found out I was the other woman. His other partner was 7 months pregnant. She called me to ask why he suddenly had so much money. I cut him off completely. I was not interested in the harmony she was trying to create. I wanted nothing to do with that mess. I do not even know where he found the time to be with both of us. He could probably put multitasker on his resume. Story 48. Took up running. Whenever I got emotional, I would go for a run. Before I knew it, I was running 3 miles every other day, had quit smoking, joined a gym, and was happy. Running releases feel-good hormones, so running counteracted my depression. I also took a stained glass class and learned a beautiful artisan craft. Took my mind off the bad thoughts. Story 49. Hanging out with friends more. Anything to keep my mind off it. Ultimately, time was the only thing that helped me. Story 50. I spent a week in bed crying, but when he next saw me a week later, I was happier and the bigger person about it all. I had to work with him closely for a few more months, and I did. Then I moved away and got on with my life. He is still with the girl he cheated on me with. Story 51. Time spent talking with people likely separates me from the person. I make it clear I do not take cheating well, and it is a huge insecurity and fear. The person should know what is happening. Sometimes a friendship can still be salvaged, but that is down the road for sure. People are people, but they are not all the same. Just because one person cheated does not mean the next will. That being said, if someone tells you about a time they have cheated, that is a huge red flag. I have only ever seen history eventually repeat itself. So yes, it is tricky and there is no sure rule. Stay safe out there. Story 52. My first marriage happened when I was way too young. She was very attractive and allowed me to be close to her, so it seemed like a great choice at the time. When I found out she had left and moved on, I was utterly crushed. The relationship did not work for almost 2 years. We tried to reconcile, but I was too angry at her, so I made her leave. I got over it by getting a job or starving. I met new people. Eventually, I dated a woman who worked in a different building. We were supposed to be one-night stands for each other. But 30 years later, we cannot seem to quit each other. I cannot even imagine what life would be like without her now. Story 53. Time and realizations. There are many people who do not cheat. You have learned signs to watch for. Many others have been through this. You need to open up to close friends or therapy if you have not already. Move on and live for yourself. You are free now. Feelings are never completely gone, but they are part of your experience that made you who you are. Do not let them define you. I'm sorry you went through that. Story 54. It has been 6 years. I still have not gotten over it. We were only married for 6 weeks, and he says he does not know why he did it. I just want to know why. Otherwise, I will never get over it. It eats me up every day. Story 55. Wish him genuine happiness. Then he realizes he wants me back. Well, I am sorry because I am now over you. Story 56. Foolishly continued with the relationship for a while, but ultimately it was not going to work, so I let it drift away. No regrets. Story 57. As someone who has experienced both sides, it really is up to you to decide how to handle it. My ex-wife cheated on me physically with many people. That was not worth saving. I emotionally cheated on my current wife about a decade ago. Nothing physical, just some texts to an old hookup who does not even live in the state. She decided to forgive me, but I had to do the work to earn that forgiveness. I essentially gave up any privacy I had for years, but it was worth it to me. So you really have to consider whether you want to continue and if they are actively working to regain that trust. One or the other will not work. It has to be both. Story 58. Meh. I had a suspicion before proof. I suspected a shipmate and confronted him. He said he did not know she and I were dating. We became friends, and neither of us had anything else to do with her. Story 59. I know someone who was cheated on by her husband. They were separated for a year and then reconciled. I have never asked her how she was able to move past it, but they still do not trust one another. I think they stayed together for the children and financial reasons. Story 60. Well, I tried drinking away 7 years of a relationship. That did not work. 0 out of 10 do not recommend. I tried wallowing in depression, again 0 out of 10. Support from family and friends helped normalize being on my own again, except now with a child added, and focusing on my own life. I couldn't spend time worrying about her and what she was doing. Over time, I noticed I didn't mourn as much because I didn't have time. Work, a child to raise, a life to live. It wasn't easy. It took years to get over her and even longer to really trust again. Story 61. Forgive, but never tell them. Let them forever think they are forgiven. For some, it is a miserable feeling. Story 62. Well, I lived with the man while another woman was pregnant by him. I went away to see friends and party like never before and reminded myself that the joke is on the other woman because she is the one who will have a child by him. When I returned, I politely requested him to pack his things and leave. Story 63. Do not go back. I made that mistake. I promise that a while from now, it will be like it never happened. Moving on with your life is the best thing you can do for now. You will feel better one day, even though it seems totally impossible right now. Story 64. Took me a long time. She kissed the person she was with the night before our first date. It wasn't the breaking point, but it created distance between us that made me realize I had made a mistake choosing her. Story 65. I tried to forgive, but I could not. I eventually left, and now, some 10 years later, I feel like I am actually over it. I think it changed me as a person, but it no longer hurts. It happened, but I learned from the experience and have grown from it. I do not know if I would be able to get over it again, though. Story 66. You never learn to trust quite the same. You move on and eventually fall out of love with them and take them off that pedestal. For me, it was focusing on myself, hobbies, and casually dating without any serious commitments. It can affect future relationships, so being mindful not to bring baggage is important when entering new relationships. However, you never forget, and you become more aware of warning signs. Story 67. I was cheated on, and she was very hurtful. She has cheated on all her partners before because she believed that if they ever cheated, at least she cheated first, so she won. That is her mentality. I have been playing games with my friends and have been single for about 7 years. She destroyed all trust one had in women. I know not every woman is like her, but I would rather not take the chance. Story 68. You have to learn to trust again. It is very hard. Definitely look into cognitive behavioral therapy. I agree it changes you fundamentally as a person. Story 69. I told her I forgave her, had some good sex, then told her that she needed to leave because we were done. I did forgive her. I just was not going to continue dating a cheater. Story 70. Not something you necessarily get over, but you can come to terms with it over time. The important part about being cheated on is understanding what the warning signs are with a partner who would be willing to cheat early in a relationship. It is essential to have good, honest, and open communication from the beginning, so if your partner has doubts about anything, they can be addressed before it becomes a problem. Also, understand that one person cheating on you does not mean every person has the potential to do the same. Do not let it become baggage you carry into the next relationship. Suspicion and jealousy can push a good partner away. This is a common issue, and one I have had to deal with in my marriage. Communication and talking it out have made the biggest difference. Story 71. Leave the relationship. It will never be the same. Swore off relationships, got a haircut, some new clothes, and approached women I thought were out of my league at the bar. Realized that I could and did do much better. Confidence went through the roof. I began attracting a different caliber of women I thought I didn't deserve and couldn't be happier she cheated on me. I also gave myself time to grieve. I see a therapist to work on how I let myself date the person I did for as long as I did and am currently focused on being the best version of myself. I am much pickier these days and am in no rush to get into another relationship until I work more on my trust issues. Dating someone else wouldn't be fair to them right now, and I make that boundary extremely clear up front. Story 72. I realized I was worth much more than that man could offer me. I decided that, despite how much it absolutely hurt, it was the wake-up call I needed to choose myself and leave him. He has since cheated on his next wife, so there is that. Story 73. Well, my ex was involved with my best friend 30 years ago, and I just got upset thinking about it. In some ways, you never fully get over it, but you think about it less and less over time. Story 74. I'm not sure exactly when I got over it all, so it was probably incremental. I focused on moving forward, and at some point it all lost the ability to hurt me. I think it would have been devastating, except that all our friends helped him hide it for years. Finding out he had never been the person I thought he was, and none of them were either, really upended my world. It was too much to repair. I left him. I left all of them behind, too. I moved, got a new job, built a new life, reclaiming all the things that brought me joy but which I had given up bit by bit over the years I was with him. I built a successful career. 15 years later, out of the blue, he called me on my work number. It turned out he had been keeping tabs on me via the internet all those years. Apparently, his current relationship was breaking up, so he called to say he was sorry and that he thought we should try again. He was looking for a soft landing place. I told him not to be sorry because I was not, and hung up. That's when I realized I had not thought of any of it, or any of them, in years. Story 75. It did not require any getting over. The relationship had already run its course. We were friendly, but it was winding down. Then she called and said she was going to hang out with one of her male friends, and they were going to drink. I just said, "Have fun," with a clear idea of what would happen. Sure enough, she called the next day crying. I was not even mad. I just told her we would talk about it the next time she came over. We broke up the next time I saw her. It was not even about the cheating, just that we were clearly not right for each other anymore. The least dramatic breakup ever. Story 76. I did all the wrong things the first time I was cheated on. Please learn from my mistakes. Don't go out drinking and smoking all the time. Don't go out partying all the time. For what it's worth, don't even date for a while, let alone sleep around. It drained me and ruined many friendships and potential relationships. I was hurt and thought I could just mask how I felt. However, the mask I wore became a burden, not the relief or escape I thought I was getting. The second time it happened, I took it with grace and redirected my energy to help myself grow into a better person, rediscover myself, and embrace my carefree childlike side. Story 77. Literally went through the stages of grief. In hindsight, I honestly just realized that no one liked him, and I was the only one who saw anything in him. I find what he did to be embarrassing for him, which helped a lot. Story 78. Yes, I stopped dating. I love the guarantee of that never happening again because mentally I could not go through that ever again. Story 79. Could not prove it, so I mentally put it behind me. Then she did it again and left. All you can do is forget about it. Story 80. Got back in the gym, healed in silence, and reminded myself that being selected is never the flex. Choosing yourself always is. Story 81. I left her and moved on with my children. I have no desire to enter a relationship at my age. I am going to enjoy spending time with my children and spoil them instead of a cheating former spouse. Story 82. You do not get over it. You only deal with the aftermath. It is an extreme betrayal and it hurts so much. I remember never feeling clean after it happened to me. It does get easier in time, but you have to acknowledge that side of you that will never be the same in the healing process. Your boundaries change. It is okay to be vulnerable, but you must protect those vulnerabilities much more. Story 83. It hurts physically. Time was the only thing that helped me get over her. I am a hopeless romantic, so it cut deep. Story 84. Put milk in a spray bottle and sprayed all his belongings, including his car. Saw the idea on social media and I am sure by now it smells very bad. Not the most creative of comebacks, but petty enough that I felt temporarily better. Story 85. Realized he is a piece of work and it had nothing to do with me. If Beyoncé can get cheated on, it is not our problem. It is their problem. He is a loser, and why would I care about the opinions of a loser? I am not downplaying the pain of it, but once I healed, I could see it that way. Story 86. I took a long, thoughtful look in the mirror and realized it's not about me. I think the person looking at me in the mirror deserves to feel valued. Experiencing betrayal does not reflect his or her worthiness to be loved. This pain belongs to this moment, not to my identity. Perhaps I'll choose to feel lucky that I have learned how this pain feels. Perhaps I now know what a cheater looks like. Perhaps I am now safe. I had to accept that it wasn't me making a bad move, that this was a mistake I wouldn't expect someone to forgive me for. Now, all I have to do is respect myself enough to believe that this guilt, sadness, and pain are the result of something I did not deserve, but I am in charge of what I do about it. Apathetic cheaters are pathetic and unworthy of your love. You will be much happier letting yourself feel and acknowledge the pain. When the time comes, let yourself learn from it. Story 87. When I was in my early 20s, my girlfriend of more than 4 years cheated on me. I left her and took a gold chain she got me for my birthday to a jeweler and sold it for about 120 pounds. I spent around 20 pounds of it on a few boxes of condoms with the goal of using every last one by the end of the year. I spent the remaining 100 pounds on a really poor beginner tattoo kit from eBay to practice with in my spare time because I had no idea what to do with myself as I always spent time with her. Long story short, I got through those boxes and I am now a tattoo artist, so when life gives you lemons. Story 88. Waited a while to date again. Read self-help books for mental health. Cried. Got angry. Forgave. Moved on. Story 89. I prefer the term get through it versus getting over someone. They are gone and it is just up to you. Also, what is the alternative? Become someone obsessing over something the other person did not value. I did things that made me like myself more. I would just do something spontaneous because I did not need to tell anyone. I worked on becoming healthier physically. I spent more time with friends. Eventually, that was all I could do, become a better version of myself. I also avoided unhealthy behaviors. I did not speak negatively about them on social media. I did not air dirty laundry. Yes, my close friends knew she was unfaithful, but I did not try to trash her, regardless of my thoughts on it. Every relationship is complex, and there were things I could have done better. My reward for the next relationship was to learn and improve. Story 90. Cut them off completely. I went into therapy because betrayal and abuse can deeply affect you. I built my self-esteem and realized who I truly am. Was it easy? No. Was it the best way to free myself from that pain? Absolutely. Story 91. The fastest way to get over someone is to get under someone else. But that is not what I did. I decided to keep to myself for 5 years. Story 92. I was with another girl in her bathroom at her house, whom I met on Tinder, and then sent her on her way. Without cleaning, I was with my then girlfriend, whom I was cheating on, and told her immediately that I had been with another girl. I then told her to go ahead and leave. She did not take it well. Story 93. Stopped dating until I met my wife. Coming up to 24 years together now. Also, I was very grateful I did not catch mononucleosis that Christmas. Story 94. I turned into the entire definition of a man who engages in casual relationships for the better part of a year. I am not proud of how many women I hooked up with. After about 11 months, I was a totally different person. I felt bitter and depressed during my time as a man who engaged in casual relationships. I always told the women I met that I was not looking for anything more than just a hookup. I feel like having that detachment from the romantic side of things and the feelings helped me deal with my emotions better. By some stroke of luck, I met someone, and I did not want it to be just a hookup. We were together for 11 months. Call it karma for my past behavior. But she cheated on me too. I was able to manage it, and it almost did not emotionally impact me at all. I was able to switch on that emotional detachment. Kind of weird. Probably need therapy. But it works for me. I feel calm, collected, and fairly happy in my day-to-day life. Story 95. First, you drown in sadness, then you die, you disappear for a while, and then you resuscitate completely different. Story 96. I adopted a player persona and did not seriously date a woman for 6 years. I broke a lot of hearts in college. I had fun, but looking back on it, I am not proud of some of the actions I took. Story 97. I became a harmful person for many years and punished other women for the mistakes my ex had made. It changed me completely for a few years, and I remain resentful towards her to this very day. I am now aware of my wrongs and have changed my ways, but I will never forget. It has been over 15 years ago. Story 98. A lot of introspection, being accused of being naive by my ex, and going out as much as I can to meet different people, get different perspectives in life and compare them with my own. So far, I have had men telling me, "You cannot blame men for stealing your ex. That is what men do. They are animals that cannot be trusted. It is your ex who screwed up. You need to see every man as a potential predator," which I strongly disagree with. Both parties are at fault, and I am not going to forgive the man who did this just because he is a man. Women were more understanding, stating, "If she was willing to cheat, it means you were not compatible. Do not bother and do not second-guess yourself. You were neither naive nor too understanding. You trusted her, and it was the right thing to do. It is just that this was not the right woman." It has been 8 months now. I am still single, and I do not know how it will affect my future relationships yet. I plan to be upfront about it. For sure, it is going to make me more jealous, possessive, and worried. But I guess I will just have to cope with it and share my worries with this future person. Story 99. I did horrible things, a lot of drinking, drugs, and that kind of behavior. One drunken, drug-taking night, I met this beautiful girl. That was 23 years ago. Now I have a house, a car, 2 cats, a dog, and I am happy. Story 100. Let the sting and the hurt fuel your growth. Get physically stronger through exercise and mentally smarter by learning how to better identify the personality traits and patterns of those who consistently betray. Lastly, examine your own traits and patterns that contributed to your trusting this person with your heart. Story 101. Leave if applicable. Do not talk to them again. Feel your feelings and heal. Take time before moving to another relationship. It will get better. Story 102. I listened to empowering songs and it helped. My favorites are Somebody Out There by A Rocket to the Moon. You Got It by Vito. Story 103. You may have some trust issues in the future. Do not let that hold you back from being in a relationship. Go distract yourself, have fun, and move on. All we can really do is move forward. Story 104. Honestly, I tried crying, drinking excessively, cutting off our mutual friends, moving, changing jobs, hooking up with other people, but the only thing that really worked was when I talked to people who also got cheated on and never got over it. Mothers of friends who still curse their ex-husbands for cheating 10 years ago, grown men who think every woman is automatically going to cheat on them because their high school girlfriend did, and so on. I stared deeply into a possible future and decided, no, I don't want to become them. I'm going to let this go. Don't get me wrong. Being cheated on is awful and everyone's story is different. but letting it affect you forever is worse. Take the time to grieve, wallow, and then get up and take your life back. Also, therapy. Story 105. I moved out. I was really hurt. It became evident she had cheated on me numerous times with different men, yet I was basically begging her to get back with me. I was so distraught and blindsided. She was my first serious girlfriend, and I imagined at one point we would marry. We were on again, off again very briefly immediately after, largely for sex on my behalf. Then I finally got on with my life, hooking up with an incredibly attractive and popular woman. She lingered for a bit longer as I was in a band that was starting to get major attention, but eventually got the message from my partner, who was very jealous. She ended up with a string of bad boys. She resurfaced many years later and sent me messages trying to get back with me. I was a lot more successful and desirable, but it didn't move me at all, especially since I was now with my dream woman. The tables turned completely. I actually feel sorry for her, but we have no contact other than the occasional Facebook like. I have moved to a different country and am living my best life. She's in the same area, having moved out of the city and currently appears to be single after hooking up with yet another bad boy she posted about as her savior. It's embarrassing, really, but also a little satisfying. I went well beyond her expectations, and she clearly knows it and regrets it. Story 106. From a man's perspective, only time could ever get me over it. No rebound or one-night stand, no partying or anything else did it for me. Be patient and take care of yourself. Cheating says more about the cheater than it does about you. Story 107. Moved back home with my parents, found a new job, reconnected with family and friends, and met my husband. That was 10 years ago. I am forever thankful I was cheated on. Story 108. Went through the same thing. There was a lot of abuse and manipulation. He decided he wanted an open relationship, but in reality, he wanted to be open just for himself. He even admitted that he gets jealous and does not like that I may be with someone else. He pushed me to get a job, but only so he could spend his time how he wanted with others. There were times when I could not even go home to my family. Many nights he would burn tires outside my complex, blast his horn, wake up neighbors and argue with them. Late at night, I was basically forced out of my apartment to stay with him in the car. Many times, in 2.5 years, I caught him with others while he was sleeping. When I confronted him with the truth, he would ask to stop fighting. I still follow him and I know I should not. It is hard even though I know it is better. He is spending his time how he always wanted. I know he has been in groups for the last 2 to 3 weeks with the same people. I am sure he is doing drugs now, staying in hotels and other people's homes from 1 in the morning until 8 in the evening, and he repeats this day after day. It was a gay relationship and we used the Grindr application, which is how I know where he is. Story 109. 4 partners cheated on me. I was starting to think I was the culprit. There is always something to learn from relationships, so you improve yourself. My first partner cheated because she wanted to. The second did it because she thought I was having an affair. The third went on a trip to Ibiza and was unfaithful. The fourth, same thing, different place. You learn from every relationship. I learned to balance work, life, and love, to communicate better, and to support your partner. It is hard to see it as a way to grow, but I think it is a better approach. There are compulsive cheaters. There is nothing to learn there. Love finds a way. 15 years married now. You are young, learn and move on. Story 110. Went to Las Vegas, had a summer fling with a girl until she went back to her partner. I started working out again and returned to school to earn my degree. Now, I am in a deeply committed relationship with a wonderful woman. Exercise regularly, have my degree, and have a job, but am looking for better opportunities. My ex cheating on me really changed my life for the better. Story 111. I spent 3 years drinking, using drugs, and having sex with different women. Then one day, I woke up and did not like who I was. I snapped out of it. I sold my house, moved to the country, got some chickens, and lived a simple life. It was a difficult 3 years. I am lucky to be alive. Story 112. Time just got me past being cheated on, used, played, ghosted, bested. You name it. At times, I wasn't even the second choice. All I could do was get up and move on. Story 113. Lotta Lil Wayne had my heart broken by this woman named Tammy. But women will be women, so I couldn't blame Tammy. Story 114. It was not cheating exactly, but my girlfriend ended our relationship and then dated my friend. Should I get over it? I did not really want to be with her in the first place. There are not many decent girls at that school. Story 115. I do not have proof, but after a 7-year marriage, just 1 month after the breakup she asked for, she was already living with another man, basically having the same life she had with me before. I saw her as my soulmate and the best friend I ever had. This experience will change you forever. I will probably never enter into a relationship again. I just cannot. But you learn to live with it and life goes on. Story 116. Honestly, it hurt for what seemed like forever, and nothing I could do made it feel better. Then I woke up one day, and it just hurt a little less. It stopped being at the forefront of my mind all the time. A little longer, and it stopped hurting altogether except on dark nights when alcohol was involved somehow. Time and distance are the only real cures for this, I feel. I know that might not be comforting if you are on day one because that tunnel feels endlessly long and without a light at the end, but there is an end. This experience irrevocably damages you, though. It changed the way I approach and deal with love for the rest of my life. Story 117. Radical acceptance and letting go. Do not lose your trust in others. They have already cheated on you. Do not let them take more than that from your life. Story 118. Try not to hold a grudge. That person cheated and did what they did, knowing the consequences. It is just part of who they are until they change, and you cannot change people, or at least should not force them to change. There is always someone better for you out there, even if you do not believe it. Story 119. My first serious boyfriend got another girl pregnant. That broke me. My first husband was having an affair with the live-in childminder in our house. I was furious. I made a bonfire of all their belongings and sat on the patio drinking wine with my 2 elderly, lovely neighbors, watching it all go up in smoke. How you react is your own choice. Move on or let it break you. I have done both. Story 120. Most of the time, people are with others just because they started when they were young. Once they move past that, they begin living their best life. I did the same. I jumped on all the dating applications and spent a lot of money as well. Story 121. Realize that we are animals in the animal kingdom and we are driven not by societal norms, but by biology and genes. My desire for mate loyalty has nothing to do with what deoxyribonucleic acid wants. It is a cold, hard truth, but one I am glad to have finally come to terms with. People do not come with a guarantee. As soon as you learn this uncomfortable truth, your life will get better because you will finally put down the fairy tale book. Story 122. It depends on how you truly felt about the cheater, and I mean really felt. For whatever reason, it has happened to me more than once in different relationships, and so I became more and more numb. Then, after I realized that is not healthy either, while still angry, of course, that they obviously did not respect or love me, or they would not have cheated. It is a hard truth, but it just means that yours was a stepping stone to a better partner out there for you. Take a trip, do whatever you want to do. I traveled backpacking through Europe by myself at one point and wrote everything down each day. It was the most liberating month of my life. Story 123. I ended the relationship. I keep myself busy and focus on improving myself physically, emotionally, and financially. Story 124. I feel like many people cheat when they are young because they are unwise or unthinking, and many of them grow up over time. I know some people never cheat, but I also know many who regret it and grow from the experience. I guess this is a perspective of age and experience. I have seen many people who cheated on early boyfriends and girlfriends later get married and remain faithful. For many people, it is a life lesson. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.